I'm going to teach you how to play the At the Mountains of Madness minigame, or perform the At the Mountains of Madness rite from the game Rites of Cthulhu from Quirky Engine Entertainment. Okay, so again, following the turn order card, the Grand Cultist, that'll be me, just for the sake of explanation, deals 5 cards to each player. Then, after considering his or her hand, the Grand Cultist gets to pick the rite. In this case, I'm going to pick At the Mountains of Madness. Now you might want to check, each of these rites tablets has a summary of the rules of how to play the game on the back. And if your questions aren't answered, you can go to the exhaustive rule book that answers all the questions. But one of the main things you want to look at is the privilege of the Grand Cultist. The Grand Cultist in this one gets to declare the Elder Sign by playing the first card in the mountain ridge. He or she may then play any other cards from his or her hand as long as they can legally be played. Okay, so At the Mountains of Madness. Okay, so I've selected the rite. Now the Grand Cultist reveals the coveted artifacts. So you draw the top card of the coveted artifacts. In this case, we picked Henry Akelay's Brain. We put that right here. The next part, or the next piece in the turn order, is to invoke the coveted artifact's power, which is written right here on the coveted artifacts rule area of the card. We're not going to do that because I just want to show you how to play the game. But we are going to be playing for 2 points, which is the number on the top left and bottom right corners of the coveted artifact cards. Okay, so we're going to get that out of the way. Slide it over here. The artifacts deck, we're going to get that out of the way too. Next, we perform the rite. So, in this rite, what we're trying to do, it's based on H.P. Lovecraft's story, At the Mountains of Madness. And what we're trying to do is map the Mountains of Madness, much like what happens in the story. We encourage you to read the story. It'll give you some good background for this rite. Okay, so as the Grand Cultist, I get to go first, but the mountains are made up of a ridge, and the ridge is 4 cards, and the cards have to be in a run, in a numeric run, and it doesn't matter where the run starts or where the run ends, as long as they're in a run. The object of the game is to get rid of all your cards. The first cultist to get rid of all of his or her cards wins the rite, so you can play more than 1 card per turn. Once you map the ridge, or even before the ridge is entirely mapped, you play slopes below and above the ridge cards. The slopes has to be numerically sequential, either up or down. So if there's a 10 on a slope, you can play a 9, or you can play an 11 on top of the slope. You can also play what are called cliffs. In order to play a cliff, you play a Forbidden Book card, which is a card with a value of 0 as its Elder Sign, and any other card, and it resets the number of the slope. So you can play a 0 card and any other number. Let's say I play a 0 card and a 3 on a slope. Now, the next cultist, in order to play on that slope, is either going to have to play a card with a 2 or a card with a 4. Colors or cults or suits don't matter in this game. So let's just get started playing. So mapping the Mountains of Madness, I'm going to start with a 0 on the ridge, and I can play another card if I want off from that 0. You don't want to draw cards because the object is to get rid of them. So I'm going to go ahead and play a 1 card right here. So I have my numeric 1, and I have another number 1 card, and I'm going to start this slope right here. So I've already gotten rid of 3 of my cards. Now, if a card can be played on a ridge, you have to play it on the ridge. But if it can't be played on a ridge and can be played on a slope, then you play it on a slope. It's the next cultist's turn. Okay, so he's going to play the 2. Now he's finished the ridge. The ridge is only 4 cards in a numeric run, 0, 1, 2, 3. And that's his turn. Okay, so it's my turn. I can play a 4 on the slope off from this ridge. So I'm down to 1 card. All right, he plays a 5. All right, since I can't play, I have to draw a card. if I draw a card that I can play, then I can immediately play it. So I draw it, I cannot play it. He has to draw. I have to draw. Can you play it? No. I have to draw. Can't play it. He has to draw. And it's at a certain point, this is going to break. I draw. Hang on, I can play this. Okay, so I just drew a 2. So I'm playing the 2 here. All right, so we played a 4 on the 5. You have to pay attention. Oh. Okay, so, okay, can't play. Your turn. No? Let's see. Yep, I got a 2, so I'm going to play the 2 off from the... Okay, so he played a 1 off from the 2. If I had a 0 or another 2, I could play it. But I don't, so I have to draw. So your hand can grow and contract. Okay, I got a 5, so I'm going to play that there, and I can play a 6. And I am done. Okay, my turn. I go a 10 off from his 9, and then I'm going back to a 9 from my 10. Can't play. 10. All right, I got an 11. Oh, okay, so he played his hand out, and so he wins. So what is on the table for him to win? The coveted artifact. So he gets that. So he puts that in front of him, straight up and down, and then if he wants to trigger the power of that card again, he can knock the card and trigger it a second time at a certain point in the game. A couple of other points. It just happened that we played all on this side of the ridge, but you can actually play cards on either side, so it could have just as easily gone this way. So you'll have cards on both sides of the mountain ridge. Also, remember to play them on top of each other. Some people, when they first start playing this game, think that it's got to be a solitaire situation where you can see all the cards. All that matters is the number on the top card on the slope. And that's how to play at the Mountains of Madness from the game Rites of Cthulhu from Quirky Engine Entertainment.